Ethan Cole wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked at the scanner. A faint signal blinked in the top right corner of the display. It wasn't on any official channel. It wasn't even listed as a known emergency beacon. "Captain," Ethan said through the comms, "I've got something. Might be a distress pod. Small, cold, but not empty." Captain Navarro's voice came back with a sigh. "We don't have time for side jobs, Cole. We're already late delivering the salvage." "I know," Ethan said, tapping the screen. "But this thing's old. Really old. It's floating just above the Cairo's belt. If someone's still alive in there..." There was a long pause, and the captain spoke again. "You've got 1 hour, in and out." Ethan smiled and grabbed his gear. The escape pod was half buried in dust and space debris. It had clearly been adrift for years, maybe longer. Its outer shell was cracked, its ID codes erased, and strange alien writing covered parts of the hull, but what mattered was inside. Ethan used a plasma torch to cut open the hatch. The stale air hissed out. Inside, dim lights flickered. Everything was quiet. Then he heard a sound. A small cough. Sniffle. He stepped inside carefully. His boots echoed against the metal floor there, near the back of the pod. Curled under a thin emergency blanket was a child. She looked up at him with wide violet eyes. Her skin was pale with a faint lavender glow. Her ears were small and slightly pointed, and her hair, long and silver, fell across her face like moonlight. She looked alien, but not fully. Ethan dropped to one knee. "Hey there," he said softly. "It's okay. I'm here to help." The child blinked slowly. Then, in a tiny voice, she said one word, "Da." Ethan froze. "I'm not your dad," he said, trying to smile. "But you're safe now." She didn't answer. She just stared at him, and for some reason Ethan felt something stir in his chest, a strange warmth, like she was reaching right into him without saying a word. He wrapped her in a thermal blanket and carried her back to the shuttle, back on the ship. The crew stared. "A kid?" grunted Ramos, the ship's mechanic. "You pulled a kid out of that thing?" Ethan nodded. She was alone, barely breathing. Couldn't just leave her. The ship's AI assistant, Madassa 7, ran scans. After a few minutes, the AI spoke. "Subject is a hybrid, unknown species combination. Its estimated age for Earth years. Health stable but malnourished." The girl sat on the medbay bed, holding onto Ethan's jacket sleeve. She didn't speak again, but she didn't let go either. Ethan frowned. "Hybrid? Part human? Correct," the AI said. "Approximately 48% human genetic material. Rest, it seemed, belonged to something not even in the database that night." Ethan couldn't sleep. He sat in the ship's lounge, staring out the viewport, sipping lukewarm coffee. The little girl, who he now called Taylor, was asleep in the guest quarters. She had refused to rest unless Ethan stayed nearby. He thought about the word she had used. Dad. It was probably just something she'd heard before. Some memory, from whoever had cared for her before. Maybe she'd imprinted on him out of fear. Out of survival still. It made him feel something he hadn't felt in a long time. Connection. The next morning, Ethan checked the escape pod's black box. It had survived. He connected it to his data tablet and let the AI decrypt the logs. The first few files were damaged. Static and garbled images. But one log stood out. Imperial military seal. Encrypted coordinates. And a name. V-Class Hybrid Experiment. Project Hidden. Highly classified. Ethan leaned back in his chair. "Tali, what the hell were you running from?" I didn't have to wait long for trouble. 2 days later, a ship arrived. Not a cargo vessel. Not a rescue craft. A sleek, dark cruiser with markings from the Zelthari Imperium, one of the most powerful alien forces in the galaxy, a force not friendly to humans. Ethan stood in the hangar bay as the cruiser's shuttle docked. His hand hovered near his sidearm. From the shuttle stepped a tall alien woman in a dark officer's coat. Her eyes were bright silver. Her skin a deep bronze with faint scales along her cheekbones. She walked with perfect posture and cold confidence. "I "I'm Commander Vela of the Zelthari Imperium," she said. "You have something that belongs to us." Ethan didn't flinch. "If you mean the girl, she's not a thing." Vela's eyes narrowed. Then, from behind Ethan, Tali peeked out. She took one step forward. Vela's face went pale. Her lips parted. And then Tali pointed at Ethan and said clearly, "Dad." Ethan didn't move. Tali stood beside him, one small hand clutching his pants, the other pointing at him. Her eyes didn't blink. "Dad," she said again. Clear, loud Commander Vela, the Zelthari officer, stood frozen in place. Her hand had dropped to her side. Her face no longer looked calm. It looked like she had seen a ghost. Behind her, 2 guards raised their rifles. Ethan slowly stepped in front of Tali. "You need to leave," he said, voice steady. La raised one hand to her guards. "Stand down." The soldiers obeyed, but looked confused. Vela took one slow step forward. Her silver eyes stared at Talonot in anger, not with coldness, but something else. Something softer. Something shaken. "Tali," she whispered. Tali blinked. She said nothing now. Just stared. Vela looked at Ethan, her voice low. "Where did you find her?" Ethan hesitated. "In an escape pod, near Cairo 7. "Alive? You named her Tali. She didn't tell me her name." "She just kept looking at me," said Dad. Vela closed her eyes. She looked like she might fall over. "It's really her." Ethan was confused now. "You know her?" Vela slowly nodded. Her voice trembled slightly. "She's my daughter." The medbay felt cold and silent. Vela stood near the scanner, while Tali sat on the bed, drawing something on a data pad. She didn't speak much, but she stayed close to Ethan, watching Vela with careful eyes. "She doesn't recognize me," Vela said softly. "It's been too long." Ethan sat on the other side of the room, arms crossed. "You're telling me you are her mother?" as Vela said. "She was born in secret. Part of a project between our government and a few human diplomats. The plan was to create peace. A child of 2 worlds." Ethan nodded slowly. "A hybrid." Vela looked at Tali. "I loved her. I didn't care what the council said. But when the truth came out, they tried to shut everything down. Said she was a threat. That the experiment had to be erased." Ethan's jaw tightened. "So you hid her?" Vela nodded. "I helped a friend get her off-world. We faked her death. Thought she'd be safe. But then the ship went missing. I've spent 5 years looking for her." Ethan watched Tali. She was drawing a picture, 3 stick figures holding hands. He didn't know how or why. But something had changed inside him the moment he saw her. Like she had rewired part of him with just a word. "Dad, she thinks I'm..." "Her father," Ethan said quietly. Vela looked over. "She imprinted on you. It's rare. ... But possible. Her species well. Her mix forms fast emotional bonds under stress. She must have seen you first when she woke up. You protected her. That's enough for her mind to choose you." Ethan tried to smile. "Great, now I've been adopted." Vela didn't laugh. "The Imperium won't let her live." Ethan turned sharply. "What?" "She's proof of everything they tried to hide. If the council finds out she's alive, they'll send purifiers. Kill anyone who knows. Wipe the records. Why?" "She's just a child. She's more than that," Vela whispered. "She can survive things we can't. She can communicate in ways we don't understand. They think she's dangerous. She's a kid who likes to draw and call people." "Dad," Ethan said, "she's not dangerous. You are? Your people. Your council." Vela looked away. "I know. That's why I didn't report her when I saw her." Later, in the ship's lounge, Ethan stared out the window. Tali sat beside him, head resting on his arm. She was sleepy, but calm. Every now and then she looked up at him to make sure he was still there. The picture she drew lay on the table. A tall figure with messy hair, Ethan, a smaller figure with long silver hair, herself, and a third one with armor and a cape, Vela. All 3 holding hands. Ethan sighed. "What are we supposed to do now?" Vela stood nearby, her arms folded. There's a place, a station near the Eura fringe. Neutral space. Old Imperium tech buried under it, tech that might respond to her. It's the only place where she might be safe. Let me guess, Ethan said. It's also heavily watched and crawling with bounty hunters. Yes. And you want me to take her there? I want us to go together. Ethan glanced down at Tali. She had already fallen asleep. Her tiny hand still clutched his sleeve. I didn't sign up for this, he muttered. No one ever does, Vela said. But she chose you. Ethan didn't answer right away. His mind raced through a dozen plans, 100 risks. Finally, he said, then we'll go. But if anything happens to her, Vela cut him off. Nothing will. Not while I'm alive. Ethan nodded. Good, because I already feel like her dad. I'm not losing her now. The ship moved through deep space, quiet and steady. Outside the windows, stars passed slowly like glowing dust. Inside, the air felt tense. Ethan sat in the pilot's chair, his eyes focused on the dark ahead. His hands stayed ready on the controls. Though he didn't really need to fly, the ship was mostly on autopilot. But he stayed there anyway, kept his mind busy. Behind him, Tali was sitting cross-legged on the floor with a set of puzzle blocks. She hummed softly to herself. Every now and then, she looked up at Ethan, making sure he hadn't gone anywhere. And every time he looked back at her, he felt that same strange warmth in his chest. Dad, she said suddenly, holding up a block shaped like a star. Ethan turned in his seat. That's right. Good job, kiddo. She smiled proudly. Vela entered from the hallway, her face serious as always. She carried a datapad, her sharp silver eyes scanning the screen. We've got a problem, she said. Ethan stood up. Of course we do. Vela handed him the datapad. On the screen was a red symbol flashing over a star map. That's the Imperium, Ethan said. They found us. No, Vela said. It's not yet. But they know the pod was opened. The moment you connected its black box to your system, it sent a pulse. A hidden signal. Someone out there got it. Ethan's jaw tightened. So they're coming. Vela nodded. Purifiers, most likely. Silent, fast, and deadly. Ethan looked at Tali. She was now stacking the blocks as high as she could. Smile on her face, is completely unaware of the danger heading their way. She's just a child, he said quietly. Why are they so afraid of her? Vela hesitated, then tapped a button on the datapad. The screen showed a video, grainy, old, but real. In the video, a small girl stood in front of a black wall. Scientists in white suits spoke behind the camera. The child raised her hand, and the black wall melted. It's not exploded, not cracked, just melted like ice in the sun. That was Tali, Vela said. She's more than hybrid. She's a key. Key to what? To an ancient system, one buried by both the Imperium and human command? It was technology from before either of our empires existed, and it only responds to minds like hers. It's balanced. Ethan watched the video in silence. So she's not just some rare child. She's a living passcode. Vela nodded. And if she activates the wrong system, it could change the balance of power across the galaxy. Ethan stared out the window. And you expect me to keep her safe? No, she said. I expect us to keep her safe. Together. Later that night, the ship was quiet. Ethan sat in the small dining area, sipping recycled water. Vela sat across from him, staring at a cup she wasn't drinking from. You're not like the other Imperials, Ethan said. No, Vela replied. That's why I lost everything. They sat in silence for a few moments. She really doesn't remember you? Ethan asked. Vela shook her head. No, but that's not her fault. She was too young when she was taken. Do you want her to call you Mom? Vela looked down. Her voice was soft. I don't care what she calls me as long as she's safe. Ethan leaned back in his chair. She called me Dad. I didn't ask her to. But I can't stop caring now. Vela said. That's why she chose you. The next day, as they approached the coordinates for the hidden station, the ship shook slightly. Ethan jumped up and ran to the console. Something's pulling us in, he said. Gravity well. No, Vela said. It's her. What? Vela pointed at the screen. Tali was standing in front of a glowing panel when Ethan hadn't noticed before. It had lit up the moment they came close to the system. She's connected to the controls, Vela said. She's guiding us in. Tayla's eyes were wide, her fingers touching symbols only she could see. The ship didn't resist. It followed her lead like it had been waiting for her all along. Finally, they entered a field of space debris. But among the broken rocks was a huge structuring, ancient station, still intact, glowing faint blue. Tali smiled.
Home.
The station accepted. The ship without a single alarm. The docking doors opened, lights flickered to life. And systems activated like someone had just flipped a switch after 1,000 years. Vela was stunned. This place was dead. I've read the reports. No power, no air, nothing. Ethan watched. Tali stepped onto the platform. She brought it back. Tali walked forward, her tiny feet echoing on the smooth floor. She stopped at a console. Placed her hand on it, tanned. The walls lit up with soft light. Data streamed across the screens in strange, alien languages. She's unlocking something, Vela said. Ethan stepped forward. Should we stop her? Vela shook her head. Can't. This is what she was made for. Back on the ship, Ethan sat on the edge of a cot while Tali rested under a soft blanket. She was tired, but her small hand reached out and grabbed his again. I'm here, he whispered. She smiled sleepily. Dad. Ethan looked down at her, feeling a strange mix of fear and pride. She wasn't just a little girl anymore. She was the galaxy's most powerful secret, and somehow become the one she trusted most. Ethan stood at the center of the ancient station, staring at the glowing walls. The air smelled clean, but strange like metal and rain mixed together. Everything around him looked advanced, but peaceful, quiet, sleeping, until now. Tali had touched one console. Now, lights were waking up. Systems were humming to life. Doors opened without a sound. Machines moved without being touched. This place was responding to her. Tali stood beside a large glowing pillar. Her silver hair shimmered in the soft blue light. Her small hands rested on the smooth surface. Symbols danced beneath her fingers. Ones no one else could read. She's guiding the station, Vela whispered beside Ethan, like it knows her. Ethan nodded slowly, because she's meant to be here. Suddenly, an alarm rang through the air. Red lights flashed. The sound was low and deep, not an attack alarm, but a warning. Ethan rushed to the console. What is it? Vela checked the data streaming across the screen. Her face turned cold. Found us. A small fleet of ships appeared on the edge of the system. Imperium warships. Fast, quiet, and deadly. They came quicker than I thought, Vela said. Ethan clenched his fists. How many? Too many. Tali looked up at Ethan, her bright eyes calm. Bad people? Ethan knelt beside her. Yeah, sweetie, but don't worry. I won't let them take you. She touched his face gently. Promise. I promise, he said. Inside the control room, Vela and Ethan argued. They'll break in fast, Vela said. We need to hide. There's no point in hiding, Ethan replied. They'll scan everything. They'll find us, then. Let's run. Ethan slammed his fist on the table. I'm done running. The room went silent. Tali looked up from her seat in the corner, her hands resting in her lap. Ethan turned to Vela. Every time we run, they follow. Every time we hide, they burn down the place behind us. I say we stand. Vela raised an eyebrow. With what? This station has no weapons, no shields. Ethan smiled slightly. It has me. Vela folded her arms. You're a human engineer, not a soldier. Ethan walked over to a side console. I'm a human engineer with a stubborn streak, a toolkit. And a genius kid. He looked at Tali. Right. Tali grinned. Ethan worked fast. He and Vela moved through the station. Unlocking systems with Tail-Eye's help, she opened doors, activated old circuits, and even discovered control nodes hidden in the walls. This place has power, Ethan said. But it's not just for fighting. It's for defending. It's like a guardian waiting for its queen to return. Vela nodded. And Tali's the queen. They activated energy barriers, hacked security fields, and connected old drones to the main system. None of this is perfect, Ethan said, but it might be enough to buy us time. Hours later, the first enemy ship entered orbit. It launched a small force of soldiers. Black armor, silent comes. Purifiers. Ethan watched them on the screen. They're coming. Vela stood ready with a pulse rifle. Then we meet them, no? Ethan said. I'll meet them. Vela turned sharply. What? He nodded. Let them see me. Let them chase me. Tali stays safe. She won't want to leave you. She won't have to, Ethan said. Smiling, I'm not going anywhere. But I'm going to show them what happens when they try to hurt my daughter. Ethan walked out alone. He stood at the station's main entrance, surrounded by glowing metal and blue lights. The air around him buzzed softly. The soldiers landed, their boots hit the ground. Quiet, cold. One stepped forward. Where is the girl? The soldier asked in a deep voice. Ethan crossed his arms. Gone. The soldier raised a weapon. Don't lie, I'm not, Ethan said. She's gone somewhere you can't reach. The soldier aimed. You are protecting a weapon. Ethan's voice rose. She's not a weapon. She's a child. A miracle. I'm not letting you take her. Suddenly, lights above flashed. A burst of energy hit the ground between Ethan and the soldiers. They all jumped back. The station had fired its warning. Ethan grinned. Looks like she disagrees with you. Inside, Tali was guiding the station. Vela stood beside her, guarding her as systems lit up. She's defending him, Vela said softly. Tayla's eyes glowed faintly. No one hurts, Dad. She touched a console. Drones activated, flying down the halls. Lights flared. Barriers closed. Outside, the soldiers opened fire, but the station fought back. Hidden turrets appeared. Shields blocked bullets. Drones flew through the air, disabling the soldiers' weapons. Ethan ducked behind a pillar, then shouted into his com. Vela, they're retreating. Whatever Tali just did, it worked. Vela's voice came back, surprised. She's using systems even. I don't understand, Tali spoke into the com herself. Come back, Dad. It's safe now. When Ethan returned, Tali ran into his arms. He picked her up, holding her close. You did it, he said softly. She smiled. Keep promise too. Vela stood nearby, her voice quiet. The Imperium will come again. I know, Ethan, he said, but next time we'll be stronger, smarter, and we won't be alone. Vela raised an eyebrow. You're planning something? Ethan looked around the glowing station. We just showed the galaxy that this place is real. That peace is possible at a little girl hour. Little girl isn't something to fear. Vela smiled faintly. You're turning her into a symbol. I'm not, Ethan said. She is. Tali climbed onto a console and looked out at the stars. Can we help others like me? She asked. Ethan walked over and stood beside her. That's the plan. And for the first time in years, the stars didn't look so cold anymore. The station was quiet again, but it wasn't the same kind of silence. This time, it felt calm, strong. Like the deep breath after a storm, Ethan sat near the main control room. His hands covered in grease, tools scattered across the floor. He wiped his face with a cloth and leaned back. Almost done, he said to himself. Tali sat across from him, legs swinging off the bench. She held a strange metal piece, turning it in her small hands. Will this help the shield stay on longer? She asked. Ethan smiled. You've been paying attention, she nodded. You're a good builder, he chuckled. You're a good student. From behind them, Vela entered, her boots clicking against the floor. We just finished sweeping the outer levels, she said. No more soldiers, no more threats. For now, Ethan stood. Good, but we can't sit and wait. They'll come again. Vela crossed her arms. And what's your plan? Picked up a damaged drone and held it up. We make this place a fortress. Not just for us, for others. Vela raised a brow. Others. There are more kids like Tali out there. Hidden, lost, scared. We can protect them. Vela looked at Tali. The girl was now fitting the metal piece into a drone with careful hands. You're serious? Vela said. Dead serious, Ethan replied. We'll turn this station into a home, a safe place. And if the Imperium doesn't like it, they'll have to get through me first. Ethan and Vela worked side by side. They upgraded shields, repaired old power cores, and connected the station to outer warning satellites. They used everything the station had and some tricks. Ethan brought from Earth's old gear. New ideas. Ethan installed motion sensors made from repurposed kitchen units. He rigged pressure alarms using spare food containers. He even used chewing gum to stop a coolant leak. Vela did not approve of, but it worked. You humans, she said, shaking her head. Always fixing things with random junk. Ethan grinned. We call it creativity. As days passed, more signals started reaching the station. Tali had activated a hidden beacon in the main tower. It didn't just call for help. It called for hope. The message was clear. This is sanctuary. No war, no hate. Come if you seek peace. Soon, small ships arrived, not armies. Not fleets, just individuals. A single mother with her half-human child. An old scientist who once worked on the hybrid project. A soldier tired of fighting. Ethan greeted each one at the dock. Vela scanned them, checked for danger. Tali offered hugs, and each time someone saw her, they paused. No? They didn't see a threat. They saw a reason to believe. One night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He walked through the station's halls, checking systems, lights, and power levels. Just like he always did, he stopped near the observation deck. Through the glass, the stars looked brighter than usual. Tali stood there, holding a small plush toy someone had gifted her. Can't sleep either? Ethan asked. She shook her head. I had a dream. About what? She looked up at him. About a big place, with many kids. Some looked like me. Some didn't, but they were all laughing. Ethan sat down beside her. Sounds like a good dream. Can we make it real? She asked. Ethan put an arm around her. We're already trying. She leaned on him. You're the best dad, Ethan. Blinked. No matter how many times she called him that, it still hit him deep inside. You're the best reason to be one, he replied softly. The next day, trouble returned. A massive Imperium dreadnought entered the system. It didn't send a warning. It didn't ask questions. It powered up a weapon large enough to destroy the whole station. Vela rushed into the control room. They're done hiding, she said. They want to erase everything. Ethan stared at the screen. The weapon charged. Slowly, glowing red. We don't have anything strong enough to fight that, he said. No, Vela replied. But she does. They both looked at Tal. She stood beside the old central pillar, her small hand resting on it. She already knows, Vela said. She can feel the danger. Tali turned to them. I can stop it, but I'll need help. Ethan stepped forward. What do you need? Tali pointed to the console. You, Mom. Both of you. They stood together, Ethan, Vela, and Taylor hands on the console. The lights grew brighter. Energy pulsed through the floor. Tali closed her eyes. We have to think the same thing, Ethan nodded. What should we think about? Ali smiled. Home, they focused. The energy flowed. Outside, just as the dreadnought prepared to fire, the ancient defense grid activated, not with weapons, but with light. It surrounded the station in a golden shield. The weapon fired, but the energy beam curved around the shield and vanished. The dreadnought system shorted out. Its engines died. It began to drift, powerless inside. The station calmed. They had done it. After it was over, Ethan sat quietly beside Tali in the common room. She was tired, but smiling. You saved us, he said. She looked up. We saved everyone. Vela stood nearby. The Imperium won't forget this. They can remember all they want, Ethan said. We're not going anywhere. Tali nodded. This is our home now, and others can come too. Ethan looked at her, heart full. She wasn't just his daughter by accident anymore. She was his by choice. The station was alive now. More ships arrived, one by one. A group of refugees from a world torn by war. Scientists seeking knowledge lost to time. Families with nothing but hope and the promise of peace. And each time they arrived, they were greeted by Ethan, Tali, and Vela. Tali had become a beacon, not just of survival, but of something more, something greater. The station, once a forgotten relic, was now a sanctuary. A place where anyone could come and know they would be safe. A place where children like Tali could grow and learn and live without fear. Ethan sat in the station's observation deck, watching the stars pass slowly by. The soft hum of the engines was comforting now, not as a tool of escape, but as a part of home. Tali ran over to him, holding her latest creation, a strange, colorful model of the station she had built out of spare parts. It was a mess of shapes, but to her, it was perfect. Look, Dad, she said, showing him the model. I made it look like the station, but bigger, and with more colors. Ethan smiled and ruffled her hair. It looks great, kiddo. She beamed and sat beside him, holding the model in her lap. She looked out at the stars, her small face serious for once. I don't want to go anywhere, she said softly. Ethan's heart tightened. You don't have to. This is your home now. Tali looked up at him, her eyes filled with trust. You'll stay here too, right? I'm not going anywhere, he said. I promise. She smiled, leaning her head against his shoulder. Good, I want to show everyone how it's supposed to be peaceful. Like here. Ethan wrapped an arm around her. He knew what she meant. She had seen enough pain for someone her age. Enough hatred, enough fear. She didn't understand all the politics, but she understood one thing. This was different. The people here were different. They had hope. For the first time, so did he. Vela entered the observation deck, her expression thoughtful. They've found us again, she said. Ethan frowned. Who? The Imperium. His heart sank. After everything they had been through, after everything they had built, it felt like the past was catching up to them. The threat of the Imperium had never truly gone away. Don't worry, Vela continued. It's not the same as before. We're not sending purifiers this time. Ethan stood, walking toward her. Then what? They're sending representatives? Diplomats. Diplomats. Are they here to arrest us or negotiate? Neither, Vela said. They're coming to talk about the future, about peace. Ethan was silent for a moment. It's too late for that. Imperium doesn't believe. In peace, Vela shook her head. Maybe, but they're scared. What Tali did, what we did, has changed everything. The galaxy is talking about it. Ethan glanced down at Tali. She was playing with the model, but her attention had drifted. She was listening, even when she pretended not to be. I didn't ask for this, he said quietly. None of us did. I know, Vela replied. But now we have to decide what to do with it. The next day, a ship arrived at an imposing vessel, sleek and dark, with the unmistakable markings of the Zelthari Imperium. But it didn't carry soldiers. It carried diplomats. The meeting was held in one of the largest chambers of the station. Ethan stood by the door, Tali beside him, while Vela met with the Imperium representatives. The room felt cold. Despite the warmth in Tayla's hand as she held on to Ethan, the Imperium officials were tall, their faces impassive. But when they saw Tali, they froze. For a long time, there was nothing but silence. Then, the lead diplomat, a tall alien with glowing blue eyes, stepped forward. Is this her? He asked in a low, steady voice. Tali looked up, her eyes wide. I'm Tali. I'm not a weapon. I'm a person. The diplomat nodded slowly. We never wanted to hurt you, child. Ethan stepped forward, his voice firm. Then why did you send soldiers to kill her? Why did you hide the truth? The diplomat's eyes softened. We feared what you could do. What she could do. Paley's small hand squeezed Ethan's. He looked down at her. She was no longer the scared child from the escape pod. She was strong, confident, a symbol of something bigger than all of them. We're not afraid anymore, Ethan said, his voice steady. And we're not going to run. We can see that. He turned to Tali, his voice gentler now. You are a symbol, not just of the past, but of the future. And the Imperium would like to offer peace. Tali tilted her head. I don't want to fight. We don't want to fight either, the diplomat said. But we must change. You have forced us to see the truth. Vela stepped forward, standing. Beside Ethan, this is only the beginning. You have a choice. Help us build a future, or continue with the old ways. The choice is yours. The diplomat hesitated for a moment. Then he lowered his head. We choose peace. Later, as the diplomats left, Tali sat beside Ethan again. The stars twinkled outside the station's windows. She looked up at him, her eyes bright. Will it be okay now? She asked. Ethan nodded, his heart full. I think so. Vela stood at the door, watching them. It's not perfect. We'll have to work hard, but it's a start. Tali smiled.
Make it.
Work together. Ethan put his arm around her, looking out at the stars. For the first time, they felt welcoming. The future wasn't a threat, it was a promise. And Tali was no longer just the symbol of what had been lost. She was the symbol of what could be.